Kansas, located on the eastern edge of the Great Plains, is a state whose history reflects the broader story of North America, the deep presence of indigenous cultures, European explorations, territorial expansions, conflict over slavery, agricultural transformations, and the development of modern America's society. Known today for its vast agricultural landscapes and central locations in the United States, Kansas was shaped by centuries of human activities, struggles, adaptation, and resilience. Long before Kansas became a United States, it was home to diverse indigenous peoples who developed complex societies across the Great Plains. Archaeological evidence suggests that human ancestors reached the region thousands of years ago. Around 7000 BC, Paleo-Indians lived in Kansas, hunting large ice age animals such as mammoths and other extinct species. These early inhabitants were highly skilled hunters who adapted to changing environmental conditions. However, the disappearance of many large animals forced later groups to adopt more diverse survival strategies, including gathering wild plants, hunting smaller animals, and developing new tools. Over time, indigenous communities gradually developed agricultural practices. Some groups began cultivating crops, creating more permanent settlements, tourist systems, community structures. Farming did not completely replace hunting and gathering, but it became an important part of life. Archaeological discoveries show that early agricultural societies in Kansas developed cultural traditions that combined farming, hunting, and social organizations. One of the most remarkable indigenous settlements in Kansas was Etzanoa, a large city established by the Wichita people around 1450. Located near present-day Arkansas City along the Arkansas River, Etzanoa was a major center of the indigenous life when Spanish explorer Juan the Onate visited the settlement in 1601. He discovered it as a great settlement. Historians estimated that thousands of people may have lived there, demonstrating that the Great Plains supported sophisticated urban communities before European colonization. European interest in Kansas began during the Age of Explorations. In 1541, Spanish conqueror Francisco Vasco de Coronado traveled through the region while searching for wealth and new territories. During his journey, he encountered Wichita and Pawnee ancestors and introduced Europeans to the plains environments. The arrival of horses, which indigenous peoples later obtained from Europeans, dramatically changed native lifestyle by improving transportation, hunting methods, and mobility. French explorers later entered the region through fur trading networks. Unlike the Spanish, French traders focused primarily on economic relationship with indigenous communities. During the 17th and 18th centuries, groups such as Kansa, Osage, and Pawnee became influential in the region. These communities maintained strong connection to the land and controlled important areas of present-day Kansas. A major turning point came with the Louisiana Purchase of 1803, when the United States acquired a vast territory from France, including most of the present-day Kansas. although the regions remained largely unsettled by European Americans for decades. American expansions gradually increased. Explorers such as Lewis and Clark expeditions and Zebulon Pike mapped the area and contributed to the growing U.S. interest in the Great Plains. During the early 19th century, Kansas became part of U.S. government plans for indigenous relocations. The region was designed as Indian territory, and many Native American nations from the eastern United States were moved there after losing their ancestral lands. Tribes including the Shawnee, Delaware, Ottawa, Kickapoo, and others were relocated through the treaties that significantly reduced their control over the land. These policies reflected the broader expansion of the United States and the pressure placed on indigenous communities. It is frequently resulted in transfer millions of acres of tribal lands to the federal government. By the 1850s, increasing number of European American settlers demanded access to Kansas, leading to major political debates about the future of the territory. The creation of Kansas Territory in the 1854 transformed Kansas into one of the most important political battlegrounds in American history. The Kansas Nebraska Act followed or allowed settlers to decide whether slavery would be permitted in that territory. The policy known as popular sovereignty overturned previous restriction on slavery expansion and created intense conflict between pro-slavery and anti-slavery groups. Thousands of settlers from both North and South entered Kansas to influence the future of the territory. Pro-slavery supported from the Missouri attempted to control elections, while anti-slavery settlers formed communities and organizations supporting a free Kansas. The struggle became violent, earning the territory the name Bleeding Kansas. Between 1855 and 1858, Kansas experienced armed conflict, political violence, and attacks between opposition groups. Events such as Wakarusa War and sacking of the Lawrence Potawatomi massacre and the Battle of Osawatomie revealed how deeply divided the nation had become over slavery. The struggle eventually resulted in untold constitutions which prohibited slavery. On January 29, 1861, Kansas entered the Union as the 24th state and became a free state. Although Kansas had only recently achieved statehood, it played an important role during the Civil War. The state strongly supported the Union, but conflict continued because of its border with Missouri, a slave state with strong Confederate sympathies. Guerrilla attacks and raids affected communities throughout the war. The most devastating event was raid on Lawrence in 1863. Confederate guerrillas led by William Clark Quantrill attacked the towns, burning buildings and killing more than 150 civilians. The attacks became one of the most remembered tragedies in Kansas history and symbolized the brutal nature of border warfare during the Civil War. After Civil War, Kansas experienced rapid economic transformations. Railroad expanded across the state, connecting communities and encouraging settlement. The development of rail networks also supported cattle drivers from Texas, making Kansas an important center of the American cattle industry. Towns such as Abilene, Dodge City, and others became famous cattle shipping centers during the era of the American West. Agriculture became the foundation of Kansas' economy. Early settlers struggled because the climate was different from the eastern farming regions. With limited rainfall and frequent droughts, farmers eventually adapted by growing wheat, especially varieties suitable for the Great Plains environment. Wheat production became a major industry and connected Kansas farmers to international market. The state also became home to many immigrants, particularly German and other European groups, who contributed to agricultural development and community growth. Despite environmental challenges such as drought, storms, and soil erosions, Kansas farmers became new techniques that improved productivity and sustainability. Kansas developed a strong tradition of political and social reform. In 1881, it became the first U.S. state to constitutionally prohibit alcohol, reflecting the influence of temperance movement. Reform movement continued into progressive era, when Kansas leaders promoted government efficiency, public health, women's rights, and economic reforms. The 20th century brought both challenges and opportunities. The dust of bowl of the 1930s slavery affected Kansas agriculture, causing economic hardship and migration. Federal programs during the New Deal helped farmers recovery and introduced new approaches to the agriculture management. During the World War II, Kansas became an important center for aircraft manufacturing, especially in Wichita. The aviation industry attracted workers and transformed the state's economy beyond traditional farming. Kansas also played a significant role in American Civil Rights Act movement. The landmark Supreme Court case Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka in 1954 declared racial segregation in public schools unconstitutional and became one of the most important civil rights decisions in U.S. history. The history of Kansas is a story of transformation from ancient indigenous civilization and early agricultural communities to territorial conflict, statehood, industrial growth, and social reform. Kansas has experienced profound changes over centuries. Its history reflects the larger American experience of expansion, conflict, adaptation, and progress. The people of Kansas have repeatedly faced difficult circumstances, including environmental challenges, political struggles, and economic uncertainty. Yet, through innovation and determination, they build communities that continue to shape the identity of the state today.